Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalatu wassalamu ala Muhammadin wa alihi tayyibin at-tahirin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilman. So, assalamu alaikum everyone. In yesterday's episode, we reflected on a truth about life from the Quran, that life is full of challenges and that man is created in distress. Today, let's look at a promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that gives us confidence that we have what it takes to succeed in these challenges and to find our way through these distresses. At the end of chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqara, the Quran tells us, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Allah does not task any soul, impose a duty on, or place a burden on any soul beyond its capacity. This brief selection from a longer verse suggests so many important points for reflection. And by the way, the Quran uses the word for soul that it uses is nafs. We know that the nafs is that struggling part of ourselves, the part that struggles to be better and yearns to actualize. In order not to burden us beyond our capacity or capability, Allah needs to know what that capacity is. And He does. So many times when we are facing challenges, they seem unsurmountable to us, and we feel completely overwhelmed and inadequate to deal with them. At times like this, it is important to remind ourselves of this verse. Even if we are unsure of our potential, He, in His infinite knowledge and wisdom, knows what our capacity is. And we need to understand, of course, that human capacity is not a static thing, that we grow by stretching ourselves. We already experience this in all sorts of ways in the daily course of life in any case. When we go to the gym, for example, we do not lift styrofoam weights that we can swing easily in order to build our strength. We lift weights beyond what we think we can lift, thereby stretching our perceived capacity. And in hindsight, after going through a period of stress or challenge, we may often look back with surprise and wonder at our own abilities to handle the situation. We realize that even though we may have thought that we would die in this challenge. I don't know about you, I've often thought like that. We actually did not. We survived it. Now, without divine intervention, given that we prefer a life of comfort and ease, even though this is not ultimately good for us, nor why we are created, human beings would very likely pass away full of potential. We would never willingly choose to go through hardships and trials. Allah's expectation from believers, however, is that we will live on the outer edges of our potential, and that we will fully realize it and actualize it, not die with it. And so we are given trials and distresses according to the measure of our ability and the resources to actualize this potential. When we go through and come out on the other side of such bespoke challenges, we are changed forever. There is no going back to before. We may have heard of the term resilience as the ability to bounce back after a setback. Let's deepen our understanding of our options in dealing with challenges. Psychologists explain that people can react in 3 different ways to challenges and setbacks. Firstly, we can be fragile, we can break easily. Or 2, we can be resilient and withstand more stress than breaking down. This is what is called bouncing back, for example, a little quicker than most people would. Or we can be the opposite of fragile, which means that the more challenges we face, the stronger we get. This is what Nassim Taleb calls being anti-fragile in his book of the same name. Taleb gives us a great metaphor to bring the point home. He says, imagine the wind. It's a strong wind. It's a wind that will extinguish a candle. However, it is the same strong wind that will fuel a fire and make it stronger. In terms of this verse, Allah knows that we have the potential to be that fire, and the challenges of life are meant to fuel this fire to bring out its full blazing potential. Our faith in Allah's knowledge of our ability beyond our recognition can give us an unshakable confidence that we have what it takes. Let us do a little bit of teaching on confidence. Etymologically, the word confidence comes from two Latin words, con and fidere. The word literally means with intense trust. This is intense trust in what, though? Not that everything will go perfectly. We know already that that is unrealistic and not in line with the promise of Allah and on what we have been reflecting on. It is intense trust in Allah's promise that it doesn't matter what happens because we know that we have the resources and the ability to handle these challenges. How do we know this? Simply because these challenges have shown up in our lives and because He has promised us that He will not place upon us a burden beyond what we are capable of. So it follows logically that if we have been given a challenge, it means that He knows we are capable of it. Does this make sense? So, having reflected on this, I know I did this episode for myself more than for anyone else because it's so easy to get overwhelmed when life throws us curveballs. Given, though, that we have reflected on this verse, how will we think, feel, and act differently the next time life throws us a curveball? What will we tell ourselves? Will we feel the confidence? I would really love to hear your thoughts on this one. So do drop me a line, post a comment, and let me know how this verse inspires you to have confidence in yourself, that you have what it takes to go through what Allah has sent your way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.